In His Shadow by meniekeime. Chapter 39, Becoming a Father. Draco's Point of View. I was walking up and down the hallway. I was told to wait in. Today's Harry's C-section. He had asked me not to be present during the birth itself, so I could be there for our child after the birth, as he couldn't. But that didn't mean I was any less worried. My colleagues at work had been giving me strange looks all day long because I was so nervous. I know that we would become parents, but it didn't really hit me until this morning. I had woken up to my perfect husband that I had made in a tiny wedding where it was only a close family and a few friends. I looked down at his belly and realized for the first time how big it had gotten, that there was really a baby inside him, our child. To distract myself from the silence of the room, I put my things out of my bag I had for the baby and began lying them around the room. My father had given me a family baby blanket that was a beautiful knitted cream. And Sirius had insisted that the baby had to wear clothes that he and his maid had bought. It was a beautiful unicorn onesie. I took out the diapers that I had picked out this morning and put them next to the changing table in the room. When I had emptied the bag, I sat down again, thumbing my fingers against my thigh. Was Harry okay? Was the baby okay? Had they already performed the operation? What were they doing right now? When the doctors had found out that Harry would not be able to give birth naturally, they had explained the C-section in great detail, but right now, I couldn't even remember if Harry was sedated or not, or if he was going to name the child, or if I would. This was all making me crazy. I noticed that I was still wearing my work clothes, and that I should change into better suited clothes. I grabbed my pants and the shirt I had brought with me, and changed quickly, not noticing that a nurse had entered, still wearing blue scrubs. Mr. Malfoy Black, your maid and your baby are healthy. Are you ready to meet your child? I turned around quickly, running over to her and nodding enthusiastically. Give me my child, I said excitedly, stretching out my hands to her. Another doctor appeared behind her, giving me a little bundle. They still had their eyes closed. One of their hands was sticking out of the blanket. Oh my, the fingers are so tiny. Their hair was pitch black, but I knew that there was no guarantee for the real hair color. I had been born with black hair too. I held the child close, sinking down into the chair next to the door. Hello, my little angel. Welcome to the world, I whispered, brushing the hair out of her face. I was so focused on my baby that I didn't notice the two women awkwardly standing there. Sir, would you like to know the gender of your child? One asked, and I nodded, my eyes still on my child. It's a girl. The doctor will come shortly and have you fill out the birth certification. They were about to leave when I remembered to ask the most important thing. When will Harry be ready to meet our child? We won't know. We'll call you when we do, though. And her name? He said you would know. Then they left. I stood up, pressing my child's head into my chest. Well then, I'll give you a name, baby girl, I said to her. I looked down and was surprised to see her actually had her eyes open, staring straight through my soul. Would you like to be named after a star, honey? I asked my child, knowing she couldn't answer me, but she opened her mouth a bit, so I took that as a yes. Well, I'm not going to name you North. Who would do that? Do you like Nova? Nova does sound nice, doesn't it? My little Nova Vanga Malfoy Black. I began petting Nova's head. She leaned closer to me, wrapping her tiny fingers around my thumb. Scared of hurting my fragile child, I laid her on the changing table to put her into a onesie Sirius had bought, and wrapped my family blanket around her to keep her warm. She was so precious, I couldn't take my eyes off of her. She was my child. We shared the same blood. I could already see her getting spoiled by her grandparents. Shortly after, a doctor came so I could fill out the birth certification, stating all the facts about my baby, 3.500 grams and 54 centimeters. Then I was led to another room, bringing me to my exhausted maid. I slowly put her down on Harry's chest. And? He asked, looking at me. What and? It's our child. No, name. Have they been a good kid? Harry, it's only been an hour. She doesn't have time to be bad. And her name is Nova Vega. Harry gave me a sharp look. You named her Brightly Shining Falling Star? Every shooting star is a falling one. I told him, kissing his temple. My mate wanted to run his fingers over the back of our baby, but when she began to cry. What is she doing? What did I do? Did I do something wrong? Come on, baby girl. Daddy's got you. He whispered, panicking, not sure what to do. So I took the child from him, taking off my shirt with one hand. What are you doing, Draco? I'm feeding our daughter, duh. I said, guiding her mouth to my left nipple. Draco, that's not how this works. You have to give birth in order to lactate. Or did you? He raised his finger at me and I gave him a smirk. You really thought I was taking vitamins. Now, shh. She's a father's girl already. No need to debate. Sleep a bit. You're tired, love. So Harry closed his eyes, overwhelmed with the whole situation. Nova drank her fill, pooped and fell asleep. Yes, I was a father now. Applause. 17 years later. Harry's point of view. Dad, where's my dress? I heard my daughter yell. I slowly raised my head from my husband's lap and looked at her. The maroon one? I asked and she nodded, twirling her white blonde hair. I think I saw it in the bottom of your cupboard. Why do you need it? Draco asked Nova, giving her a look. She quickly looked around the room before bowing over to us. I'm going to Dragon Alley with Avesta today. She whispered. I did not understand why she had to be so hush-hush about going shopping with her best friend, until it clicked. Aren't Spads and Scorpius going there today? I asked. Yes, they are. Draco threw his face into his hand, crushing the newspaper. So you're going to go stalk your brothers? No, it's not stalking. We're just going to look after them. I mean, they could get mugged or worse, hit on, she exclaimed, running upstairs to change. After we adopted little Scorpius 14 years ago, Nova had become extremely overprotective of him, to the point that she couldn't wait for a second after her brother got his first teeth to take the beta exam to become his beta sister. I had just laid my head down when Scorpius came downstairs, wearing some shorts and a t-shirt. Is Spaz here already? The boy asked, his green eyes piercing mine. No, doesn't look like it. Are you ready to go back to school shopping, though? Draco said, putting away his newspaper, focusing on his son. I'm so ready to go shopping. This year's just going to be us omegas. It's going to be a lot of fun. He shouted, and I made eye contact with my mate, contemplating if we should tell him, but decided against it. When the doorbell rang, Scorpius practically jumped to the door, ready to hug his bestie. He poured Spaz behind him up into his room, leaving Avesta, Neville, and Victor. I rose to greet my friends and bring some tea. When I re-entered the room, I could basically feel the respect Veda had for Draco. The brunette had a relatively late presentation that she was an alpha and went through a terrible identity crisis, developing anger issues to the point that even Victor, who had worked with juvenile alphas all his life, had been stuck on what to do. That was when Draco had stepped in, taking the girl into our house for a summer. Together they had managed to calm her anger, and she had found herself again, making them share a special bond. Neville and Draco had started a conversation about the newest gossip, while the other two listened closely. Veta, I think Nova wants you to meet her in her room. She nodded, excusing herself and climbing up the stairs. And don't forget the 3 golden rules, Draco shouted after her, smiling. We started a little small talk when the doorbell rang again. Did you invite someone? I asked Draco. He shook his head, so I looked at the peephole at the door. Oh, I should have known. I sighed and opened the door. Hello, people! Now the party can start, Alec yelled, storming into my house. Even after almost 20 years, he hadn't changed a bit. What brought you here? I asked him, guiding my old friend into the living room. A little birdie told me that your boys are going shopping, so I thought I could join them. No, never, we all shouted, and I threw him on the couch, while never bound him to the seat. But why? He asked, giving us a pouty face. You know exactly why, Victor told him, reminding him of the time he took the kids shopping, only so they could tell us how he made them try everything at Fred's and George's joke shop. Yeah, never again. We saw how the boys left, ready to go shop, soon followed by the overprotective siblings, who were almost unrecognizable. Why are they allowed to go, but I'm not? Alec asked like a big child. Many would say that nothing had changed, but I don't think so. My life had never been better than now. Since that moment, I wasn't seen as a lesser version of my brother. From the second I stopped being in his shadow. I hope you enjoyed this story. If so, drop a like here and on the original story on Wattpad by meniekeime. Stay tuned for the next story. The end.